Hello, 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 everybody. This is Camille with Hazel Soapery, www.hazelsoapery.com. And I am making my first 2 soaps of the year. Yay! Happy New Year, everybody. Usually I'll make 4 batches at a time. Just don't feel like using Bertha today. Let me stop this microwave. So I'm doing 2 small batches. I will be making Comfy Cozy, which is buckwheat honey from a local farmer called Klein's Honey, and oatmeal. And I will also be making Meant to Be, which is French pink clay and peppermint. And that's also including some dried mint that I received from another local vendor at the Haymakers Farmers Market by the name of McLean's Greens. So supporting our local economy as we go. I'm doing a double batch today. So I may end up moving really fast. When I do a double batch, I start with the hottest one first. And so that I can get through mixing through thick trace before I need to jump over to the next. So I am going to go ahead and pour both of my lye solutions ahead of time, just because I like to get the containers out the way and mix them really well. At parts, I may be moving fast, and I'm going to try and explain what I'm doing as I go along. So I'm going to start with the first one. I've already mixed the lye solution. Again, as I said, I'm going to go ahead and start mixing this to thick trace. Once I do that, I'll jump over to the second one, and then I'll just kind of dance back and forth between the two. All right, let's get started. If you've watched my videos before and you are a cold process soap maker, this is going to be hard for you. This is not anywhere near thick enough. I need it to be like pudding, so I'm going to continue mixing. I start a little lower with 2 batches, so I'm about 165 degrees. If I was just doing one, I'd be closer to like 180, because then it's going to fly really fast. As you can see, it's starting to get thicker. I want to be able to pull this up and leave a flower in the batch, and that's when I know it's thick enough. Getting closer, almost there. I'm going to give it a little more. I did see my flower, but I'm going to give it a little more. And you can see how it kind of still leaves that drag mark behind when I pull through. That lets me know that I'm getting where I need to be. And there's my flower. Can you guys see it? Let's see if I move back a little bit. There we go. So my batches are exactly the same, so I don't have to worry about using this same stick blender for the second batch. I am still keeping a very close eye, because I have to go through on the white pot, because I have to go through my volcano stages, which means if I reach one, I will stop stick blending and move over. I'll let it go as far as I can without having to take the lid off and disturb it. But sometimes it can move really fast, and if so, I'll need to stir it down. So now I'm going to do the same thing with the second batch. I'm going to just go to thick trace. Let's go. you can kind of see this batch a little better. So I do want to show you, if you make cold process soap before, you kind of like a thin trace. With hot process soap making, you have to keep blending. Being careful to avoid splashes. And I am still keeping my eye on that first pot. If you've taken my class, you know I tell you never take your eye off of your pot. The same goes even if you don't use batches out. Test and see how thick we are. I don't have my flour yet. Getting closer. Here's my flour. See? There we go. So one of the things that's cool about doing double batches is if you have a question about your crock pots, and if one cooks faster than the other or anything like that, this is a good way to find out. It's also a good way to see how, if one crock pot is faster, hotter, right? Or the elements are in a different position, sometimes it will make the batter different. Even though these batches are exactly the same, as they cook, they may cook a little different. One may volcano more than the other. One may cook faster than the other, and everything is equal. So it's a really cool experiment to kind of see how your different crock pots cook. I don't advise this unless you are kind of really comfortable with hot process soap making. I wouldn't advise trying 2 batches at once. And here we go. So if you look at that first one, you can see that I'm starting to go into my first volcano. So we'll see how many we have. And then this one is just kind of getting to the stage where it's starting to get a little firmer. And then even though it was like pudding, it goes through like a soft butter phase. And then it'll start to fold over on itself as well. So I've got to keep my eye on both pots really closely. And while we're doing that, I will say I am going to add the additives to both batches after the cook. The French pink clay is already mixed with oil and the essential oils and some dried mint. It will be a 2-color soap. This one will be 1 color, and it will have the honey. So when you are dealing with honey, because it is a sugar, one thing that'll happen once you put in the heat is it can get grainy. Your workaround for that is going to be to dilute it a little in fluid. I used aloe vera this time just because it's so cold here. The extra aloe vera is going to be nice on everybody's skin. So usually I'll use water, but today I decided to be fancy. And again, I want to leave my lid on, but I also want you to see what's happening in the pot. So I'm going to lift it up for a second and let you see where I am. And I'm just going to let that continue to fold on itself. What I want it to do is, this is a little more fluid. This is really firm. So I want it to fold over on itself because I want to allow it the time to break itself down as it's going through the saponification process. And I am waiting on this pot to do the same. And you can see the speeds for them to just be a couple minutes apart. The speeds at which this pot is cooking is a lot faster than the black one. And I'll lift that up so you can kind of see. You can see I haven't even started the first stage of that yet. It's still just kind of going, working its way through. Come on, Betsy. And again, like with, even if you were doing one, whenever you're working with hot processed soap, it's important that you never walk away from your pot. You keep your eye on it, because it could just be in a mood today and this crock pot decide that it's gonna kick into a volcano, and you have to be prepared to stir it down. People get intimidated at the thought of the volcanoes, and it's about control. So if you're prepared to stir, it'll behave. You just have to stir it down, and try not to become overwhelmed at the thought of it. It really is exciting. So I'm getting to that point now because it's coming up so close to the top. I can choose to go ahead and stir it down. Because I'm working with two, I'm gonna go ahead and take that option, and I could let it continue to go, but I really need to stay on top of it because I'm working with two pots at once. So, see, give it a stir. We're in my applesauce phase now. Make sure you clean your edges down so that you don't get dehydrated soap. People will sometimes think it's overcooked, and sometimes the soap is overcooked, but oftentimes people's soap will dry out. And I want to avoid that, so I make sure I clean the sides as I go. And hear how that one's just boiling and going. Whereas this one is taking this sweet little time. And again, because they are the same, yep, I'm going to be using the same utensils for this portion. Once I start adding the aftercook additives, I'll separate them and I won't use the same utensils, but these are exactly the same at this point. Nothing gets added as far as extra ingredients until after the saponification process is finished. In my opinion, it allows to keep the integrity of those products. So my essential oils, if I were adding a super fat, like an expensive butter or anything like that, I don't add them while I'm making the soap. I add them afterwards so they don't come in contact with the lye when it's still in its caustic phase. And here we go. See, it's finally starting to join the party. But you see, if you could think back how different this soap looks in comparison to how the other one looked as it started that part. And so now it's a waiting game. I'm going to keep my eye on both pots. Whoever needs to be stirred first will be stirred first. And this one here, you can see some people will be concerned about this amount of oil. I am not. I am going to give it a little stir again because I want to make sure I am in control and kind of make it kind of do a little bit more what I want it to do. As opposed to the other way around. So I'm starting to head towards my mashed potatoes. I'm still in applesauce. It's still cooking really good and really fast. I want to make sure that I have it nice and calm because soon I'm going to have to stir this next pot. And it's just like cooking a big meal. So if you're cooking dinner for the family, you may be cooking 2 or 3 things at one time. You're keeping your eye on everything. Same principle. So absolutely doable. And again, I would, if you're a new soap maker, I may hold off on doing this. If you're a more experienced soap maker, give it a try. And I'm going to let you see this one. So my guess is that by the end, this batch will probably be more fluid than this batch. But I'm going to put the lid on because I wanted to go ahead and cook. I am headed towards my volcano, but I'm not quite there yet. Again, this is that, my fingers are stuck. This one's a little, see, that's nice and foamy, and that's pretty hard. See, so I want that to break down on its own, and it will. This will also show you where your crock pot gets the hottest, fastest. So this crock pot kind of gets warm from this edge around, and this one from the back forward. And it helps. It's not like it makes a big difference because you're getting heat all the way through, but it's kind of like knowing your kid's personality. Just gives you an idea of if you're going to have something happen fast, where it may start. And here we are. We're at mashed potatoes. See, that's what we mean when we say mashed potato phase. I'll give this a good stir. And it may start to bubble up. I am going to go ahead and stir this one down. See, this one looks a lot more creamy than the other, and it just has to do with the fact that this one warms up a little slower. So it's going to go through the same process. You can see my applesauce. It doesn't look as jelly-like as the warmer crock pot. And all of that is fine. So if you're learning how to make soap and you're watching and you're noticing, oh, it's not clear or it's creamy or whatever, it's absolutely fine. Clear this off a little bit. I'm getting a small volcano in here. You can see it rising. And again, usually I kind of let it go up closer to the top, but because I need to jump between the two, I'm kind of being, I'm jumping on it a little earlier. If you guys have questions or anything while you're watching this video, I do monitor my comments, so please feel free to leave me a comment and I will respond to you. Or you can email me at Camille, C-A-M-I